Welcome to another video, and in today's one we're checking out the Omoda C5. Now I'm sure you would have seen these cars out and about on the road and wondered, what is this and where did it come from? Well, yes, this is Chinese, and yes, it is new to the market, and it's actually produced by Chery. If you look carefully, you'd notice that the steering wheel still says Chery on it, so there's no hiding from that. But it's a brand that's now there to separate the two. So you're going to get Chery, that's going to be more for your normal everyday family that just wants something that's comfortable and has all the creature comfort you need. But then you've got Omoda, and Omoda's there to fill the gap for all of those up and coming youths and people that just want something that's cutting edge and different and that really stands out. So that's what this is for. So this Omoda C5 is powered by a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine that puts out 115 kilowatts and 230 newton meters of torque. Not a lot of power for a car that's meant to stand out and be sporty and different and things like that. But I think you notice that the power is actually okay. It's actually adequate for what you've got here. Again, this isn't a sports car, but it's sporty. So when you put your foot down, it picks up nicely and it goes, and it'll keep going too. And it does get a little bit loud in here. That's just because you've got the engine revving a little bit more than what it would normally, but that's because you've got a CVT. So you've got a CVT gearbox here that doesn't have actual gears, but it's got pre-programmed stages within this transmission. And CVTs are known for revving a little bit higher than normal gearboxes, and that's okay, because with a CVT you normally get better fuel consumption. And from a fuel consumption point of view, Omoda claims 6.9 litres per 100 Ks. Now yes, that doesn't sound too odd because this is only a 1.5 litre, it's turbocharged, so you should get that. But you're not really, and I've battled to get anywhere close to that. I've been sitting in the lines and I haven't really been giving this car the beans or anything like that. So I've been quite conservative with my driving, and it just hasn't really come down yet. I'm just stuck behind a that doesn't know how to use indicators. And then there's the pricing, and the Omoda C5 range starts at 447,000 Rand and goes up to 510,000. Now what you're going to find in your entry-level spec version of this is basically going to be these two digital displays in front of you. You've got this nice section down here where you can charge your phone, you've got cup holders, you've got this storage over here, but you do also get these big digital displays throughout the range. So you aren't going to find any analog displays here, because that's what Omoda is here for. They're here to show the future and show cutting edge and things like that. But then that's where it's going to stop, because if you do get the entry-level one, that's as technology focused as what you're going to get. You do actually also get a reverse camera, which you can then see through the screen, as well as the park sensors. But that's all. You then have to start climbing up the range if you want to start getting some of the cooler and more modern and luxurious elements to this car, which would include all of the smart safety tech like your lane departure, lane centering, and all of those things that kind of keep you safe on the road, as well as your cruise control and adaptive cruise control, sunroof, electronic tailgate, ventilated seats to keep yourself cool in summer. That's a nice add. They're not heated, but I think that they've taken that option based on the South African climate, and we're more than likely going to use the ventilated seats a lot more than we would the heated ones. You're also getting blind spot monitoring, you're getting rear cross traffic alert, as well as electronically adjustable seats, which is quite handy because no one wants to have to pull levers and things like that. You want to just touch the buttons. And I'm currently driving the Elegance S version, which is the top spec. It's got everything you need and costs 510,000 Rand. But for me, the pick of the bunch is going to be the Lux S, and that sells for 479,000. So for a 30,000 Rand saving, you can say goodbye to the smart safety tech, the lane departure, the lane centering, as well as the blind spot monitoring and ventilated seats. And now the reason I say that that's the pick of the bunch for me is because we can live without the ventilated seats. We haven't needed them for a long time, and yes, they're nice to have, but we don't need them. You're also going to do away with some of that smart safety tech, like the adaptive cruise control, all the radar guided stuff, as well as your lane keeping and lane centering and all of that. Only because, not that it's cool, not cool, but I think the indicator, but I do think that Omoda still has a bit of work to do in this department. They haven't really got the technology or the software correct just yet with it, so it's very jerky. It's very aggressive. You can constantly feel the steering wheel twitching underneath your hands to keep you straight and centered. Like it needs a little bit more refinement, and that's the only reason that I'm not going to include it in the spec that I get. Yeah, so for me the Lux S is the pick of the bunch. It's 30,000 Rand cheaper than the Elegance S. You're getting everything else except those couple things that you can live without. So if you're going to get an Omoda C5, I'd recommend you get that one. Now before we talk about the drive quality and everything like that, let's have a look at what the car looks like, because that's one of its standout features, is the design, and that's something that Omoda is seriously proud of. So this is what the Omoda is all about. A design that stands out in the urban setting. And damn, does this thing turn heads. It's got this massive grille up front with all of these chrome elements that really give it the bougie edge. All around you'll find LED details in the headlights and the rear tail lights. And in this top specification Elegance S, it's really been designed to stand out. You've got a sloping contrast black roof that really makes this car look lower than what it seems. We'll call this chrome detailing because that's definitely not an exhaust tip. But then you've got all the red details that really give this car the edge. You'll find it in the two-tone colored wheels, which I wish were slightly bigger. You'll also see it on the roof spoiler, the side skirts, as well as the side mirrors. And it goes without saying, this is a good-looking SUV. I agree, Greg. It's a damn good-looking car. It turns heads, it's imposing, and it's not something that you're used to seeing on the roads. So from a driving point of view, the car actually drives really well. It feels good. It absorbs the imperfections in the road really nicely. The suspension isn't too soft. It's also not too hard. I think they've found the balance there very, very well. And you would definitely not be upset if you drove this car and felt what it was like. You're going to be very comfortable. So yes, it's sporty, but it's still comfortable. You can drive long distances. You'll be very happy. So yes, the Omoda C5 is a really good car. But there are a few things that annoy me about it a little bit. For those things that I'm not too happy about that I wish they could fix. And as I've mentioned, it's the smart safety tech to start off with. It's just refining and retuning that software just to make the lane centering and lane departure and all that stuff a little bit more seamless and not so aggressive. Just so that it's a little bit softer in your hands and just feels a little bit more natural in the field, because you're holding your steering wheel. You don't want it to be jerking around like that. It's not pleasant at all. The second part is the parcel shelf in the back. It's constantly rattling, so you might just need to put little foam things there, or maybe they will fix it, but that's one thing I've noticed. And then there's the sunroof. So once the sunroof is open, something inside is loose, so it's either the glass or the framing or the brackets, whatever, but that also tends to rattle, and you can hear that it's the metal or the glass. So I don't know, there's a little bit of refinement that needs to be done, but overall I think it is a really, really good car. You're getting great finishes, you're getting comfort, you're getting performance that's adequate for this category and the engine size, you're getting a lot of safety tech, you're getting a lot of technology, and you're getting a really good car all around. And then the interior, which you'll find is very much along the lines of this philosophy of Omoda and what they're going for. So it's very minimalist, but it's very stylish. You've got a lot of piano black, which scratches quite easily, but it still looks good. You've got soft touch rubberized material up front there. You've also got like bits of chrome that kind of just separate and kind of bring a little bit of life to all of the, hello fan, you see I've just touched it, and that's the problem with these touch sensitive things. Okay, now it's off. So as I was saying, there are bits of chrome all over just to break up the bits of black that there are. You'll also find touches of bronze, as well as like this wood finished material over here. Obviously none of it is real and it's all plastic, but it all aids to the design and the appeal of what this audience is after. And down the center here again, a minimalist center console. You've got perfect space here to charge your phone if you need to. There's a pleasure for your key, which I find weird because the key can be anywhere in the car or on you. It doesn't have to be here in the center. So this part of the center console I feel could have been used for something else. But regardless, you've also got your CVT transmission over here with your gear selector. You've also got, which is nice too, some shortcut buttons to your infotainment. So you've got a shortcut button here to your 360 camera system, and you've also got a shortcut here to your home. And the reason I say that it's good to have the shortcut to the home here is because this infotainment has been designed for a left-hand drive car. So when you hop into it from a right-hand drive perspective, all of your shortcut buttons for home and the assistant and everything like that is all covered by the steering wheel. You're constantly looking under and around to see what you're touching, and because of the touch, it doesn't make it easy to use. So at least they've got a home button here to use if you need to, but yeah, they could have somehow fixed that in the software, but it's the small things. Back to the center console, you've got two cup holders that are quite conveniently placed. You've got also quite a nice bin here for some storage that does have a vent inside that you can open and close, which is linked up to your aircon. So the bin can also be nice and cooled if you've got any snacks or drinks or anything like that in there, which is a nice touch. The door bins are also a really nice size. You've got a nice big space up front here for a big water bottle and anything you might need to store down the sides here. You've got bits of ambient lighting that runs across the front of the dash and the doors and in the cup holders here. You can change the colors to a few of them. You've also got the option of different animations where you can even make the ambient lighting move to whatever music you're playing. So it's like a little bit of a disco in here. And as I've mentioned, on these high spec models, you also get the sunroof, which opens up, which is quite nice. And then the showpiece of this interior are these two digital displays in front of you, one for the driver and then one for the infotainment. The one for the driver is quite nice. You can choose from, I think, 3 different themes if you dig into the settings to eventually find it, which I did figure out eventually. But obviously the one I prefer is here with the 2 different gauges. So it's a little bit more traditional, but it's still quite cool that you can have the option to change it if you want to. And then on the infotainment here, again, it's all your car settings. You've also got the digital handbook. So it's the first time I've used the handbook of a car digitally, and it was actually quite easy to operate. So that's quite nice. And what else is cool is that you've got a built-in assistant into the car here. So if you had to say HELLO Omoda, it'll wake up and it'll recognize you and things like that. Now, yes, it is easier just to open the window and to do the sunroof and things like that on your own, but it can do it for you. So that's a bit of a gimmick. But for me, it gets quite handy when you're asking it to do things that you have to dig through the menus to do while you're driving. So things like this. Hello, Omoda.
Yes, I'm here.
Turn on the Bluetooth.
Bluetooth is on.
Hello, Omoda.
Yes, I'm here.
Turn off the Bluetooth.
Bluetooth is off.
It can do a lot more than that, but it just goes to show that these virtual assistants can be quite handy if you use them the right way. And as I mentioned, these seats aren't full leather, they're a leatherette, but again, they have the same benefits. They're soft, they're supple, they're really comfortable. You don't need to have a full leather interior. It's a hell of a lot cheaper. These ones in the top spec are also ventilated, as I've said, which is nice in summer, but it's not a necessity. The seat design is also quite great. So it's very sporty. You've got the built-in headrest into the body of the seat. It's very much built like a sports seat. So you've got some nice bolstering on the side here. It's very comfortable. It looks sporty, and I think that they're really, really nice. And then for your passengers in the back, you do have a center armrest that's got cup holders. You've got USBs, you've got air vents, and again, the seats are just as comfortable in the back as what they are in the front here. And the legroom is actually okay. I can fit back there quite nicely. I could do with a little bit more space, but at the end of the day, this is a small crossover coupe, and you shouldn't be expecting too much space, but it's adequate. And the boot size is also pretty standard, and you do get a spare wheel. No complicated tire repair kits and inflators back here. Real tires. And then there's a few cool things that the Omoda can do as well. So you've got these puddle lights that shine a motor on the ground when you unlock the car. You've got a pretty fancy key as well. So the key can remotely start the car, which is quite cool. It's not something anyone else in this category can do that I'm aware of. You can obviously, like other keys, you can lock the car and you can lock the windows and close them, which includes the sunroof as well. So again, that's very handy. And it's also a proximity key. So if you do get close to the car unlocks, and if you walk away from the car will lock. You've also got an automatic tailgate, and the car will even play a song for you when you get into it, every time. And now it's time for the verdict, the GDR test. Should you get the car, should you drive the car, or should you remove it from your list of cars that you're looking at? Now I would definitely say, go and drive this car. The Omoda C5 is a really, really nice car. It's comfortable, it's got enough power for what you need, it looks good, it's sporty, it's super comfortable. But there's a lot of competition in this market. And when you are at this level and at this price point, you need to start getting everything right. And from these other Chinese competitors that are also got the driving assistance systems and all of that sort of thing, they do it a lot better than what the Omoda does. And if Omoda got that right, I would have definitely said go and get it. But until then, go test drive this, go drive it, go see how you feel about the Omoda C5. And if you're thinking of getting yourself an Omoda C5, then please go check one out on changecars.co.za. They're a proud partner of Greg Dennis Reviews, and they're a website that sells new and used cars. And the great thing about them is they're approved by automotive manufacturers as well as Discovery Insure. And they vet every single dealer that sells cars on their website. So you know that everyone's been checked and they've gone through the thorough process of making sure that any car that you buy from the site is going to be a good one and you're going to be happy with the purchase you make. So thanks for watching another Greg Dennis review. I hope you enjoyed the review of this Omoda C5. And if you did, please will you drop a like below. And if there's anything else you want to know about it, drop me a line in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you. And subscribe if you want to see more videos like this and other car related content. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.